Laura, you would have been quite funny to think that it looked a bit like a New Year's Eve celebration last night. There was actually a DJ here. There was even an Elvis impersonator dancing in the street as many locals came out to see as this border actually reopened for the first time. And finally, once it did hit 1 minute past midnight and the border reopened to everyone coming from Victoria, well, we saw an absolute fleet of vehicles come across, car horn rally style. It was very actually good and celebratory to watch. We even actually saw a stretch limousine make its way across, looking a bit to be a novelty joyride from some of the locals who were just keen to finally get across without actually requiring a permit for the first time in some 15 weeks. But the reality is all of the accommodation in Wodonga, which is the Victorian side of this border here, was absolutely booked out last night. You couldn't even find a swag spot in a caravan park. Many people thinking there might be somewhat of a mass exodus. Lots of Victorians really just trying to get here so they could not waste a moment longer.
A great excitement to see my mum and my family, my brother. I'm from Sydney originally, but I live in Melbourne. Yeah, just to get to see her and have a great big hug. She's 92 and it's special.
We're hoping to cross the border to go to Sydney to see our grandson we haven't seen.
How old is he?
I'm going to get trouble here. 7 weeks.
Yeah, I think he's that old.
That old, yeah. Time's flown, sort of, yeah.
I'm trying to add it up in my head and I can't.
From what you're hearing from people, are you expecting a mass exodus?
Look, I do think so.
Albury and Wodonga are the twin cities separated by the Murray River. Now, typically that wouldn't be a problem, except for when you have a situation like this. For the last 15 weeks, they have been twin cities torn in two. The Albury Mayor was here last night to watch everything return back to somewhat normal, really expressing the frustration and the pain that this community has been through.
It's been just a real nightmare for a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people whose parents have died and they couldn't go to their funerals. A lot of people couldn't seek medical treatment in Sydney because they couldn't get there, and just a whole litany of stories that I've been part of and experienced, and don't want to experience it again. I think, you can see by the line of traffic there's a lot of excited people.
The checkpoints have now been removed along with 26 other border towns along the Murray River, many hoping that they never have to see this day again.
Indeed, Andrea, thanks so much for that. Let's go to Danica now at Sydney Airport. Danica, how many passengers are expected to arrive today from Victoria?
Laura, 4,000 passengers are set to walk through the arrivals gates here at Sydney Airport on 24 flights from Melbourne to Sydney, and I'm sure it'll be such an emotional reunion for so many. I'm currently at the departures terminal here at the Qantas Lounge, and I can tell you it's already quite busy here this morning. The first flight from Sydney to Melbourne has just left, and then at 7:25 this morning, the first flight from Melbourne will arrive, and I'm sure there'll be so many eager families waiting at the arrivals terminal for those loved ones to arrive. It's been a long time coming, but also represents such an important milestone for New South Wales because the state is now the only jurisdiction in Australia to welcome everybody from across the country as well as New Zealanders. The Premier, Gladys Berejiklian, says she feels very confident about the border reopening today because of the long run of no local community cases between the two states.
We never want to see this ever again. We hope this is the last time that in our lifetime this border is closed. And I want to thank the community for your patience, for your resilience, and also for being a great example to the rest of New South Wales.
She also said that the introduction from today of mandatory QR codes at venues will also continue to help keep the state safe. This morning, Virgin Australia has released a statement saying, "We remain hopeful that borders will continue to safely reopen and more Australians return to the skies in time for Christmas." And Laura, they're already seeing quite an uptake in flights from Sydney and Melbourne and in between, and I'm sure that will increase, of course, as we edge closer to Christmas.